கம்ப்யூட்டர் சொதப்பிடுச்சு, அதனால நான் ஜாயின் பண்ணிக்கலாம் சார். நீ வந்து பாருங்க. ஓகே ஓகே, நல்லதான் இருக்கு சார். ஜாயின் பண்ணிக்கலாம் சார், உள்ள போயிட்டீங்க. இப்பதான் லிங்க் பண்ணிட்டேன். சார்
மணி ஆரம்பிச்சிடலாமா? பண்ணிடலாம் பண்ணிடலாம். எனக்கு ஒரு 62 பேர் வந்துட்டாங்க. 60 அவரு ஜாயின் பண்ணுவார்ல, நான் அந்த
11க்கு நான் வந்துறேன்னு சொன்னார்.
ஓகே, he will join, no problem, we will start. சார் நானும் சார் வந்து ஜாயின் பண்ணிடுவார். ஓகே, அவரை மட்டும் பெர்மிட் பண்ணிருங்க மணி. கரெக்ட்டா?
நான் சொல்லிடுறேன் சார்.
ஏன்னா அட்மிஷன் கொடுக்கணும், அப்பதான் உள்ள வர முடியும். ரைட், thank you. You will be taking that. Right. மணி
சரி சார், சொல்லுங்க சார். சார் ரவி சார். சார்
yes sir, shall we start sir?
Shall we start?
Esteemed and respected Vice Chancellor in charge sir, senior professors of Gandhigram Rural Institute, and gathering from different universities and Gandhigram Rural Institute. Good morning everyone. We have gathered in observation of the 74th Martyrdom Day of Mahatma Gandhi. Of course, the day felt yesterday. Since it was a Sunday, we are observing Gandhiji's martyrdom this morning. And on behalf of the Department of Gandhian Thought and Peace Science, a webinar on the message of Gandhiji's martyrdom is being organized. And we begin the webinar with a minute of silence. Let's close our eyes and pay homage to the Mahatma in silence. Om Shanti, Shalom, Peace, Amidi. Now we request Dr. R. Mani, Professor and Head of the Department of Gandhian Thought and Peace Science, to deliver the inaugural address.
welcome. Good morning to you all. The Department of Gandhian Thought and Peace Science and Shanti Sena, the Gandhigram Rural Institute, University, Gandhigram jointly organized a webinar on message of Gandhiji's Martyrdom. The whole India observes this Martyr's Day or Shahid Divas Sarvodaya Day on January 30th.
And the invitation copy.
On January 30th, 1948, during the prayers in the Birla House, Mahatma Gandhi was shot dead. Hence, on January 30th, the Martyr's Day is observed by the country to commemorate the death anniversary of Mahatma Gandhi. So to remember Martyr's Day, this webinar is organizing by the Department of Gandhian Thought and Peace Science and Shanti Sena today. In this event, I am extremely happy to welcome our most respected Dr. T.T. Ranganathan sir, Vice Chancellor in charge, the Gandhigram Rural Institute, deemed to be University. Gandhigram has consent to deliver the presidential address. He has more than 35 years of teaching, research, and extension experiences in the field of agriculture extension. He has done more number of major projects for Government of India and University Grants Commission. Sir has published more than 10 books by him. He has also a student of Gandhigram on and became a professor. Now he raised up to the Vice Chancellor for this great institute. On behalf of the Department of Gandhian Thought and Peace Science and Shanti Sena, we welcome you, sir.
Thank you.
Secondly, I'm very happy to propose a warm welcome to our own senior professor, Professor Dr. M. William Bhaskaran, Professor and Dean, School of Social Sciences, and member, Board of Management. Professor is serving this university for more than 30 years of service as teaching, research, and extension. So he is specialized in the area of Shanti Sena, conflict management, Gandhian thought. For his effort to bring this relevant topic of the today's deliberations, he only suggested this topic, and it's a great day for us to have such a person. He has agreed to deliver the inaugural address on the 74th Martyrs Day. On behalf of the department and on behalf of Shanti Sena, I welcome you, sir. So thirdly, it is our great pleasure in welcoming one of the most sincere and Gandhian scholar, presently serving as a director, Sri Jamnalal, Director Dr. C.B. Joseph. He is presently working in Sri Jamnalal Bajaj Memorial Library and Research Center, Sevagram Ashram, Rajasthan, Varda, Maharashtra. So he did MA and PhD in Gandhian Thought and Peace Science. He had undergone the international course on people's diplomacy, non-violence, human governance, and global solidarity in Italy. So he also participated in South Asia level training program on peace, reconciliation, and conflict management in Colombo, Sri Lanka, and took part in the peace mission in the conflict affected areas. He also served as visiting faculty of several several reputed institutions such as Phoenix Settlement, South Africa, University of Terry du Ciel, France, Gujarat, Vidyapith, Ahmedabad, and many more places that he was served as visiting faculty. So he also served as a Dean of Studies and Research for 15 years in the Institute of Gandhian Studies, Varda. He authored 17 books, 4 monographs, and published 50 more than research papers. So it is very happy to welcome on behalf of the Department of Gandhian Thought and Peace Science, Shanti Sena, Dr. C.B. Joseph, Gandhian scholar, the Director, Jamnalal Bajaj Memorial Library and Research Center, Varda, to deliver a special address. Welcome you, sir. So it is my duty to welcome the deans, heads of the departments, directors, teaching and non-teaching staff members of our university, students, research scholars, also the registrar of GRI, and who are attending today's webinar. It is my great pleasure in welcoming our senior professor, Dr. Mallamal Madam, former head of the Department of Gandhian Thought and Peace Science, and Madam is agreed to serve the purpose of vote of thanks at the end of this webinar. I also welcome you, Madam, and Dr. T. Ravichandran, Assistant Professor, Director of Museum of Constructive Program in the Department of Gandhian Thought. He is going to comparing the entire webinar. My sincere welcome to you all, to you, sir. Last but not least, guest teachers, Dr. Betty Karthik, Shivaguru, Mageshwari, and Mr. Bharati, and also the technical support given by the Zoom link by the Mr. Kannan. He also helped in many ways with his link. We are all today we are participated in this Zoom link. So I also welcome you, and once again I welcome you all. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Mani. Now it's time for the presidential address. Professor T.T. Ranganathan, Vice Chancellor in charge, the Gandhigram Rural Institute, deemed to be university, is the senior most professor of our university. He joined the university in the year 1981, and this year he is serving in this institute for his 42nd year. He is a professor of agriculture, and he did his MSc Agri and PhD in agricultural extension. Actually, Professor Ranganathan has completed 11 PhDs and now guiding 3 PhD scholars, and already had completed 4 MPhil students and 4 PG diploma dissertations. He served as the member of syndicate, member of Senate, member board of management, and different capacities of Gandhigram Rural Institute for more than 3 decades. He has been a member of many academic bodies, national and international academic bodies. He has successfully completed 17 projects. He has authored 8 books. He has published 2 valuable research manuals. And also, he has successfully completed and published 9 training manuals. He attended many international conferences. He delivered, actually, Professor T.T. Ranganathan has delivered 12 radio talks from different parts of India. It is very interesting. He is a man of humility and humane nature. We have never seen him as a short-tempered person, always a smiling person. Professor Ranganathan has organized more than 27 national seminars organized and participated, 16 state level seminars and conferences, 28 regional level conferences, and more than 12 summer courses. And Professor Ranganathan has visited countries, has visited 12 countries like the Netherlands, Poland, Switzerland, Germany, Canada, Rwanda, Singapore, Thailand, Malaysia, Sri Lanka, UAE, United Arab Emirates, Dubai, Abu Dhabi, of course, that's the capital, and different countries. He had been a globetrotter, and we are very lucky to have Professor T.T. Ranganathan as our Vice Chancellor in charge. Sir, we request you to deliver the presidential address.
Thank you, Dr. Ravichandran, for his elaborate resume of me. Respected Dr. C.V. K. Joseph, Director, Jamanlal Bajaj Memorial Library and Research Center, Sevagram Ashram, Wardha. He is going to give a special address on this 74th Martyrs Day webinar on messages of Gandhi's martyrdom. Respected our senior professor, Dr. William Bhaskaran, Dean, School of Social Sciences, Dr. Mani, Professor and Head, Department of Gandhian Thought and Peace Science, Dr. Ballamal, Professor, Department of Gandhian Thought and Peace Science, Dr. Ravichandran, Assistant Professor, Department of Gandhian Thought and Peace Science, our faculty members of GANDHIGRAM and other faculties from outside our institutions, my dear students. It is a great pleasure for me to give the presidential address on this 74th Martyrs Day webinar, message of Gandhi's martyrdom. We all know Mahatma Gandhi. His original name is Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi. We are calling him as a Mahatma Gandhi. He was born on October 2nd, 1869 in Porbandar. As a lawyer, anti-racism activist, and a political leader, he is revered world over for leading hundreds of people on the path of truth and non-violence. So great was the impact of his works on humanity, and he is also given the honorific title, the Father of our Nation. His words and works have powerful impacts on the lives of the people across the world. So much that Mahatma Gandhi is fondly remembered by both young and old people, even today. He was left an immeasurable mark on the history of mankind, one which would simple living and high thinking, which he followed in himself. Remembering Mahatma Gandhi on his death anniversary yesterday, January 30th, here are some of the major quotes I am going to give on this day, as the Dr. Ravichandran told. That is, yesterday we have made a tribute prayer to Mahatma Gandhi, and today we are organizing the webinar for our students and other faculty members. Mahatma Gandhi was shot dead on 30th January during his evening prayers in the Birla House. At the time when he is falling, there is immediately he expressed his word, "Hey Ram." In this last, he uttered the word, "Hey Ram." That is, it is a saying of non-violence. So a man which is teaching non-violence, but he was ended with the violence. So on this day, auspicious day, many speakers are going to speak on his messages. I am also in a spiritual path. I have inspired his some of the quotes which are related to our spirituality and not religion, because religion is we all know where the spirituality ends, where the religion ends, spirituality starts. So religion is beyond the spirituality. So spiritual is Mahatma Gandhi always following the spiritual means of living. So he has told many quotes. The most inspired quotes, which are very touching me, I am going to give around 20 or 25 quotes, very simple quotes. That is, he says, a coward is incapable of exhibiting love. It is a prerogative of the brave. Whenever you are confronted with the opponent, conquer him with love. God has no religion. Happiness is when what you think, what you say, and what you do are in harmony. Heroes are made in the hours of defeat. Success is therefore well described as a series of glorious defeats. Prayer is not asking. It is a longing of the soul. It is daily admission of one's weakness. So that's why he says we should not, when you are praying, we should not ask anything to God. It is better in prayer to have heart without words than words without heart. Live as if you were to die tomorrow. Learn as if you were to live forever. The best way to find yourself is to lose yourself in the service of others. Change yourself. You are in control. Hate the sin, love the sinner. Where there is love, there is life. You must not lose faith in humanity. Humanity is a ocean. If few drops of the ocean are dirty, ocean does not become dirty. The future depends on what we do in the present. My life is my message. It is a very strong word. He has given. My life is my message. Speak only if it improves upon the silence. Satisfaction lies in the effort, not in the attainment. Be the change you are trying to create. Those who know how to think need no teachers. In a gentle way, you can shake the world. Do not judge others. Be yourself, be your own judge, and you will be true happy. If you try to judge others, you are like to burn your fingers. That's what in spirituality says. Prejudice and expectation are the major hurdles for your spirituality. A man is but the product of his thoughts. What he thinks, he becomes. So that's why he says, your action expresses your priorities. Likewise, then some of the important quotes are, non-violence is a weapon of the strong. Just the only tyrant I accept in this world is still wise with him. Then his normal quote is, live simply so that others may simply live. Prayer is the key for the morning and bolt for the evening. Take care of this moment. Now you have to live in the moment. Whenever you are confronted with the opponent, conquer him with love. Where there is love, there is life. See, he is always telling about the love with others. God has no religion. So that's why it is very, very important. Many people say that God has religion, but God has no religion. True beauty consists of purity of heart. Prayer is the confession of one's own worthiness and weakness. Peace is its own reward. It is better to allow our lives to speak for us than our words. These are some of the important quotes quoted by or Mahatma Gandhi, which are inspired me in the spirituality. That's why on this Martyr's Day, that is a day for Shahid Divas, our President Sri Ramnath Govind took on to Twitter and paid his tribute to the father of the nation. Our president wrote, on behalf of a grateful nation, my humble tributes to the father of the nation, Mahatma Gandhi, who embraced martyrdom this day. We should adhere to his ideals of peace, non-violence, simplicity, purity of means, and humility. Let us resolve to follow his path, truth and love. So that's why we have to, if we follow the principles of Gandhi, definitely our world will go into peace. Nowadays, there is unrest and other violence. Everything is happening because of this lack of truth and love. So we have to follow the words of Gandhi and on this day, and we have to adopt in our life so that we will live simply. We can live a simple life and a peaceful life forever. So I thank the organizers to give this opportunity to give a president's address on this auspicious day. Thank you one and all for all the organizers of this webinar. Thank you one and all.
Oh, thank you very much, Professor T.T. Ranganathan, sir. Thank you very much. Now it is time for the inaugural address. Professor M. William Bhaskaran, Dean, School of Social Sciences, and Professor, Department of Gandhian Thought and Peace Science, is going to deliver the inaugural address. Actually, Professor William Bhaskaran is a senior professor of Gandhigram Rural Institute. His specialization is Shanti Sena, Gandhian Thought, and conflict resolution. He has published a number of articles, research papers, monographs, and he has published 4 important vital books on Gandhian thought, Shanti Sena, and conflict resolution. He has successfully guided more than 15 PhD candidates, many MPhil, and many PG students. As an academic, Dr. William Bhaskaran has visited a number of countries in 4 continents. He has visited Canada, he has visited many European countries, Asian countries, and African countries. And he's a God-fearing person. We request Professor William Bhaskaran to deliver the inaugural address. Sir.
Okay. Most respected Vice Chancellor in Charge, Professor T.T. Ranganathan, Dr. C.B.K. Joseph, who is going to give us a special address and the chief guest of this function, and Dr. Mani, the head of the Department of Gandhian Thought and Peace Science, my senior colleague, Dr. Mallamal, and Dr. Ravichandran, my younger colleagues, Veti Karthik, Sivaguru, Mageshwari, and senior professors from Gandhigram universities like Professor Velumani and others, student friends, and other professors who participated in the webinar. Greetings to all of you. Today we have been observing Gandhiji's martyrdom, though it fell on yesterday. We have this special seminar to remember the message of Gandhiji's martyrdom. In fact, Dr. Mani told that I gave this title, The Message of Gandhiji's Martyrdom. In fact, it was suggested by Professor Dr. Sivid K. Joseph. I think he preferred to speak on this topic because people should know what martyrdom is. Because nowadays, the post-truth scenario is dominating the entire country and even in this global scenario. The alternative truths are being projected and people are made to convince that the alternative truths are real, and in the process they try to replace the truth. But Gandhi was the man who strongly believed in truth. He had an unshakable faith on truth. So these post-truths will disappear, and how Gandhiji fought on this, how Gandhi faced his death when he fought for, or when he made a search for truth. And nowadays there is another scenario is happening. The violent martyrdom of people are equated with the people who faced death without having any violence in their heart, in their action. And equating both may not be give us the right understanding. Therefore, I think Sibi has chosen such a topic. I think we have been remembering the people who died in war, in protecting the nations, in saving the nations, yes. I think it is important. But there are other people and who defended this country, its policy, its principles, its glory, without using any violence. Maybe they are very special in their own way. And how they are special, I think we have to understand this. Then only we can really understand the sacrifice made by Gandhi. So it's an occasion for us to remember. It's a kind of commemoration. We're remembering the sacrifice done by Gandhiji and his followers at the time of the freedom struggle. But Gandhi not only stood for India's freedom, I think his objective was much larger, much larger. I think if you relate all these things with this struggle and his messages, I think we will understand the significance. Now, the entire world is so much governed by pride, lie, hate, anger, and violence. And they try to project, these are the things which save them, which bring them glory. But Gandhi stood for peace and non-violence. He was focusing something very different, just totally different, just opposite to the thoughts of others. And now there are huge attempts people are making to equate Gandhi with other leaders who believed in the earlier principles of pride, lie, hate, and other things. I think we have to be careful with this. As a followers, since we work in Gandhigram, we follow this pattern. We have to understand the importance of truth and non-violence. And we should not allow the prejudice and untruth to overcome the reality, the truth. So remembering such events are very, very essential. So Gandhi, an attempt on Gandhi was not only made in January 30th, even before that, much earlier, even in 1934, June 1934. A bomb was thrown on his car. Of course, Gandhi was not sitting in that car because he was using two cars. One car crossed this railway crossing and another car struck in the crossing. So Gandhi was sitting in that. The car which reached the conference area or the meeting area was attacked and Gandhi escaped. And many such attempts were made, planned to kill Gandhi. Why? Why? Why the attempts were made on Gandhi? As you all aware, Gandhi was a man of truth and non-violence. He never had any ill will towards anybody. He never used violence towards anybody. Even he never used harsh language on anybody. But why these attempts are being made? The attempt on his life is made. I think students and friends, we have to remember, recollect, and try to analyze, why is this? Why this man of non-violence is being attacked? So I think we have to ponder over certain facts. I think when you look at our leaders, the type of leaders, I think we have people, maybe we have leaders. The leaders are the one who enjoys the support of the majority of the people, who lead people in different areas, in religion, in economics, in politics, in different fields. So they are the leaders. Then we have heroes and superheroes. So we have certain people who did a marvelous work or exemplary things. Excuse me. Hello. Meeting with Gandhi. So who did an exemplary work in their own field. So they are called as heroes. Then the Siddhapranka, they are the people who have equipoise in their life, who treat joy and sorrow equally, the victory and defeat equally. And such people, great people, were living among us. And we have seen very few such people. And there are saints, saintly people who live, who lead a spiritual life and set an example to others and lead other people in attaining the life in totality. Then finally, there are people who sacrifice their life, who are called the martyrs, who sacrifice life in the process of all the things read so far. Those who led, who acted as heroes, who are the man of equipoise, and who lead saintly life. And Gandhi is one among them. Gandhi is one among them, such people. Was a great, great hero. So equating with the others, I think, has certain limitations. And before understanding that, I think we should know who is martyr. So it has been defined. Martyr is a person who dies or greatly suffers voluntarily for the cause of his faith, belief, principles, policies, positions, and admire them and value them as supreme. So the martyr is the one who sacrifices life voluntarily for the sake of their principles and belief, policies, and everything, which they consider most important to them. Gandhi believed in non-violence. Gandhi believed in truth. Of course, after independence, the intelligence agencies reported that there will be an attempt on Gandhi's life. And this matter was brought to the notice of Gandhi. And Gandhi refused to have the personal bodyguards to protect his life because he was a man of principle. He strongly believed in non-violence. So he refused to have the bodyguards and others to protect him. He never believed that violence, you want to accept the violently trained people to protect him. He preferred to die. So I think he faced it. So while we try to understand martyr, I think there are many different types of martyrs. Some people who sacrifice their life for protecting the wealth which they possess. And there are certain people who sacrifice their life because they had certain passion for their belief, and they consider it's a very important duty to die for the sake of their religious belief or faith. And some people who accepted this death because they want to maintain the power of their religion or caste or political interest, like that. And there are people who died for maintaining or protecting their pride. So all these people, and if you look at them, I think there are different kinds of people. Sometimes people call them as martyr, and some people call them as terrorists. So all these people are called by different names by different people, because they have certain self-interest or certain selfishness in giving up their life. But there are certain people who sacrifice their life for the sake of love, because of their love for not only for their community whom they served, because of their love for the universe. They don't discriminate people. They'll have a great love for the entire humanity and for the entire universe. They're not only restricted to humanity, and they also love the environment, which includes the fauna and flora and the natural resources. And such people are there. They never believed in any kind of exploitation, any kinds of violence. Such people are there. And there is another category of people who sacrifice their life in the service of the welfare of all. In the service of the welfare of all, they sacrifice their life. I think Gandhi belonged to this category, who had a great love for the universe, and he sacrificed his life while serving the welfare of all the people. He never had any prejudice for one group of people. And therefore, Gandhi was entirely different from other kinds of martyrs, because other kind of martyrs are being called as martyrs by people and equally named as terrorists by some others. But there is no ambiguity in the case of Gandhiji. It's martyrdom. He was believed as the real martyr. So we have to understand this, how to differentiate the non-violent martyrdom from other kinds of martyrdom. And without understanding, we cannot really understand the significance of the sacrifice, the supreme sacrifice done by Gandhiji. Because while Gandhi was living, he was aware, very much aware of the death of Socrates and Jesus Christ. And Gandhi was calling them as the Prince of Satyagraha. And he recognized their sacrifice, their martyrdom. So Gandhi also faced similar kinds of violent death, though it was violent death, and he accepted with God's name in his mouth, by uttering God's name on his mouth. So this is a very rare kind of things. Even he has said once, suppose when someone shot me, if I die with God's name on my lips, then you can call me as Mahatma. The same thing happened. His prophecy came into truth. But such people are facing many sufferings, not only through death, by violent death. And they were slandered, they were punished, they are imprisoned, even tortured, and finally they are killed. I think Gandhi faced all such kinds of sufferings and overcome these sufferings. And therefore, we can say he is in the pinnacle of sacrifice. He was with other great such leaders like Socrates and Jesus Christ. Then we have to understand a few more things. I think should not take much time because Dr. Sibi would speak much on it so elaborately. And I don't talk much about Gandhi because I leave that to Dr. Sibi. I want to just highlight how to differentiate this martyrdom. That's just to inaugurate it. So the non-violent martyrdom, where people die in the search for and establishment of truth. But in the violent martyrdom, people die while fighting for what they consider as truth. What they consider as truth. But here, in the search and establishment of truth. That's the difference between these two, violent and non-violent martyrdom. And in non-violent martyrdom, you can see they refuse to give up one's faith and suffer. But in violent martyrdom, they refuse to give up one's faith and die in the battle. So where they use violence and they struggle, fight, but here they accept suffering voluntarily. Then in non-violent martyrdom, people resist, compromise peacefully and die. But in violent martyrdom, they resist compromise with violence and die. And in non-violent martyrdom, without resorting to violence and physical retaliation, they die. There, they die while inflicting violence on those who refuse to accept their view as truth. Then in non-violent martyrdom, they seek the welfare of all, and in violent martyrdom, they seek the welfare of their own. So these are some of the differences, significant difference between non-violent martyrdom and violent martyrdom. And as you all know, Gandhi stood for non-violent martyrdom. He know it, he know the value of it. Because the characteristics of non-violent martyrdom is something very unique. Because don't think these non-violent martyrs are defenseless people. They can do that, but they voluntarily give up violence. They don't want to resist violently. Rather, they accept the sufferings voluntarily. The non-violent actions are willful acts. It has chosen, they have chosen this. And they stick to it. They believe it as very basic of their action. And in non-violent martyrdom, martyrs believe there is no victor and vanquished. They don't want to defeat, kill, and prove that the others are wrong. No, it was not their objective. They want to convert, not to conquer. They want to convert them like them because they are in search of truth. They were in the journey of truth. So they want to bring them and make them as a fellow traveler of fellow traveler in the search for truth. And they want to transform the people, not toppling them. This is the important characteristics of the non-violent martyrs. And Gandhi very much adapted all these things in his life. He followed all these things in his life. And he said an exemplary thing for others to imitate and to follow in their own creative way. So remembering Gandhi is so important today because if not to overcome violence, in order to overcome the untruth, as I told you, we live in the period of post-truth, where lies are flattened and lies are given in the form of alternative truth. So in order to challenge such things, we cannot use violence, because violence will eliminate the opponent, but untruth may remain. So that can be encountered with truth and non-violence. And Gandhi stood for it and gave his life for us to understand these facts and truth. And with these words, I inaugurate this seminar, and I look forward, Dr. C.B. Joseph, to explain the significance and the message of Gandhiji's martyrdom. Thank you.
Dr.
Ravi,
Ravichandran, you are not
unmute
audible.
your mic. Ravi, unmute your mic.
Sir, please, sir. And thank you very much, Professor. Now it is time for the special address. Dr. C.B. Kolapalli Joseph, presently Director, Sri Jamlalal Bajaj Memorial Library and Research Center, Sevagram Ashram Pradeshan, Wardha, is going to deliver the special address. Dr. C.B.K. Joseph was formerly Dean of Studies and Research Institute of Gandhian Studies, Wardha, and Dr. C.B.K. Joseph is a scholar, activist, writer, organizer, and he has got a kaleidoscopic personality. After obtaining his master's degree in Gandhian thought and peace science from Mahatma Gandhi University, Kottayam, he got his PhD in the same university on Gandhian thought and development studies. Dr. C.B. has a wide range of experiences. He had undergone the international course on people's diplomacy, nonviolence, humane governance, and solidarity in Italy, which was organized by the International University of People's Institution for Peace in Rovereto. The Peace Bell Foundation, Rovereto, and the University of Trento, Italy. He also participated in South Asia level training program on peace, reconciliation, and conflict management in Colombo, Sri Lanka, and took part in the peace mission in the conflict affected areas. It goes on like this. He's a visiting professor in many universities. He's the author or editor of 17 books and 4 monographs, of which 5 books were prescribed as a reference or prescribed reading for the curriculum of Gandhian thought by universities and institutes of national importance. In addition, 5 publications edited by him were accepted for circulation among libraries in India by Raja Rammohan Roy Library Foundation, Kolkata, which was established by the Ministry of Culture. It goes on like this. He has published more than 50 research papers in journals or magazines and as chapters in edited books. His books were published by Routledge, Concept, Manohar, and many other publishing houses. His most recent writings are Lanza del Vasto, who is known as the French Gandhi, a message of Africa, a racist or a liberator. This is magnum opus, Kasturba Gandhi, an embodiment of empowerment. So we request Dr. Sibi K. Joseph to deliver the special address.
Thank you so much, Dr. Ravichandran, for your kind words. I try my level best to true to your words. At the outset, I congratulate the Department of Gandhian Thought and Peace Science of GANDHIGRAM Rural Institute for organizing this webinar on the eve of 74th Martyr's Day. I was just attending another webinar organized by Pondicherry University, and it is a great pleasure for me to join all of you in this important webinar. Professor T.T. Ranganathanji, the Vice Chancellor in charge of Gandhigram Rural Institute, has beautifully presented the message of Gandhi. He emphasized the fact that what Gandhi stood for was for truth and non-violence. He also quoted a number of important words of Gandhi, starting from Gandhi's approach to cowardice. In this process, he has beautifully narrated the very essence of Gandhi's life, emphasizing on non-violence, love, harmony, and he also quoted that my life is my message. Perhaps Gandhi is the only person who can say that my life is message. This is a message for the posterity, for the world leaders and thinkers. No one perhaps stated that, look at my life. That is what the message. Therefore, it was the talk delivered by the Vice Chancellor in charge made it very easy. The message of martyrdom is also the message of his life. And my good friend, Professor William Bhaskaran, has beautifully narrated the context in which we have assembled here. He has rightly pointed out that we are living in a world, there is what is called the post-truth. What is the post-truth? See, alternatives to truth is presented. And there was recently a request from a Gandhian group for me to write on Gandhian post-truth. And it was a very difficult task for me. And then finally, I informed them that my inability to deliver a talk on such a subject. The reason is that there is no alternative to truth, but alternative to truth is now being projected, and in that process, the real truth is replaced. Also, Professor William Bhaskaran has brought into our limelight the hidden agenda of a group of people who believes in violence. What they want to project is the message of violence and not the message of non-violence. And they are equating both violence and non-violence on the same pedestal. This is not expected from a country like India, which gave birth to great personalities like Gandhi and have tremendously contributed to the martyrdom. It was rightly pointed out by my good friend that martyr is a person who voluntarily embraced death. There is no element of self-interest in it. There is no question of selfishness. And he is guided by the spirit of love, compassion, and sacrifice. And his concern is the love for the entire universe and humanity without having any prejudice to. And the talk delivered by Professor William Bhaskaran made my task very easy. And as I have agreed to deliver a brief lecture on Gandhi's message, what is the Gandhi's message through his martyrdom? Recently, we have a university students camp. 48 students from 15 states of the country assembled in the premises of historic Sevagram Ashram to learn and experience about Gandhi and his ideas and his thoughts and action. It was inaugurated by Sri Chandan Balji, the president of Sarva Seva Sangh. I still remember what he said at the concluding part of his presentation. He said Gandhi was assassinated by 3 bullets. These 3 bullets or shots represented 3 things. First one is religious parochialism. The second one is fanatic nationalism. The third one is narrow patriotism. Then he said, these forces are much active even today. That is why we have assembled in the premises of Sevagram Ashram to learn and understand the philosophy and method of actions of Mahatma Gandhi. Friends, just now I delivered a brief presentation on martyrdom at the Pondicherry University. There the topic was remembering Subhash Chandra Bose and Mohandas Karamchand. When we remember these great personalities, we should not forget the fact that what they stood for. It is true that these two personalities have a different understanding how to achieve the goal. At the same time, there are similarities which we have to take into consideration. Friends, what is attempted today is to bring out the differences between these personalities and highlight one over the other. I would like to refer to the biographer and grandnephew of Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose himself. Sukhdev Bose wrote, his strategy entailed combating religious prejudice without stumbling into secularist pitfall of making religion the enemy of the nation. I strongly believe that in this aspect, both Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi and Netaji comes on the same parlance. Because Gandhi was a person, as it was emphasized, as a religious personality, a spiritual personality, and he fought against the forces of communalism. And also we should remember that I had the opportunity to read some of the reports which has come in the mainstream media. What is attempted here is that the contribution made by Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi for the freedom struggle is sidelined. But how Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose himself looked upon it? See, as all of you know that Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose, in spite of their differences of opinion in the election and matters relating to the Congress, each of them respected each other. That is why on the 74th birthday of Gandhi, that is October 2, 1943, he made a broadcast from Bangkok describing the contribution made by Gandhi on the Indian struggle. And he said, what he described was, it is a unique and unparalleled. And he further stated that no single man could have achieved more in one single lifetime under similar circumstances. And all of you are familiar that it was Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose. He has given the title the father of the nation. And he also, in spite of the differences, his INA brigades were named as Gandhi Brigade, Nehru Brigade, Maulana Azad Brigade. And the most interesting thing is that he said, when the INA soldiers enter the territory of India, Mahatma Gandhi will be their commander-in-chief. Because of the circumstances, he was forced to adopt the path of violence. You see, during his term, because as all of you know that he quit his job, government service, and joined the freedom struggle And when he was in the Indian National Congress, he stuck to the philosophy of non-violence. And one of the important things we should remember that I congratulate and appreciate the observance of the 125th birth anniversary of Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose, because Gandhi himself described him as patriot of patriots. He has not described Nehru as my son, but in the case of Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose, he stated that he was like a son to me. This is Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi. See, what is missing in this whole story is that, see, we are not attempting to end the mystery and stories about his disappearance on the occasion of 125th birth anniversary. See, those who are working on Subhash Chandra Bose, on his life, what their family members, what they are demanding. They are saying that we can truly honor him only by following his idea of inclusivity. Inclusive. It is not exclusive, it is inclusivity and secularism. And he was a person who's trying to bring warring communities together like Gandhi. What is the message of Gandhi's martyrdom? I will say Gandhi's martyrdom was his final sacrifice in his relentless yajna for Hindu-Muslim unity, communal harmony. So yesterday we observed or commemorated Gandhi's martyrdom and Martyr's Day. And we paid tribute to the freedom fighters who sacrificed their lives for the freedom of this country. And what is the message? Whether a message of a person can be eliminated by killing or assassinating that person. As you know that the new movie which was supposed to released, Why I Killed Gandhi. See, I saw the trailer of that movie. What is the attempt which is looking for? The attempt is nothing but Gandhi was responsible for the partition of the country and the bloodshed and vivisection, bloodshed which happened during the partition. Whether Gandhi is really responsible for it. Gandhi was the person who fought against the forces which tried to vivisect this country. And he was ready to give his life for that cause. Recently, we have heard from religious assemblies the words which they uttered about Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi. A personality like Gandhi cannot be, the impact which has created in the minds of the people cannot be. But the language, look at the language they are using. I don't want to use in this August audience, and all of you have come across it. Then I was referring to Why I Killed Gandhi, even Nathuram Godse's word. Nathuram Godse in the Why I Killed Gandhi, the very theme. There also I say, he says, I am prepared to concede that Gandhi did undergo suffering for the sake of the nation. I shall bow in respect to the service and to him. In spite of making all the allegations, he also bow in respect of him. That was Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi. I am reminded
Sibi, what happened? Sibi, can you hear?
Sir?
Sibi is not audible.
Yes, sir. It might be
Sibi
his
ji?
own. His own.
Sibi, can you ask this gentleman to
Yes, sir. I will ask.
Mr. Kannan? Huh?
Kannan, yes.
Yeah, ask him.
I
What
think
happened?
he has some network issues, sir. I think so.
It is because of this network.
Okay.
Failing all. Yes,
Okay,
sir?
I think he will join. I will call him. I'll
Okay.
call him.
Yes, sir. Sometimes. Big voice. பேசினாரு. సార్ కొంచెం அவர் லைன்ல ஃபால்ட்டா இருக்குதா?
அவர் லைன்ல தான் அவரு போக மாட்டேக்கு.
சரிங்க சார்.
போனும் போக மாட்டேக்கு. கொஞ்சம் ஒரு நிமிஷம். ஹலோ. Sibi is appearing in the screen. Ravi.
கண்ணன் சார்.
சிபி சாருக்கு இதுக்குள்ள லிங்க் கொடுங்களேன்.
லிங்க் கொடுங்க சார், லிங்க் கொடுங்க. வரார்.
They have already given, sir. Sir,
Okay.
he is in the host only.
Okay, okay.
Dr. Sibi, we are all waiting. Don't worry, come.
Sibi, unmute your mic and join. Dr. Sibi. I think the signal is so bad, I think that.
Because of the signal. One time, sir.
Yes, come. Yeah.
Sibi, unmute your mic. Please
Dr.
continue your
Sibi,
talk by unmuting your mic.
Dr. Sibi, kindly unmute your mic. Audio. Audio is muted.
Okay.
I have unmuted.
Yes, sir. Yes. Now it's so clear.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm
Okay.
sorry for the inconvenience.
Uh,
What I was precisely saying that he told me that even from his graveyard, he will speak what the values he stood for. And even before his death on 30th January, he said, death for me would be a glorious deliverance rather than that I should be a helpless witness to the destruction of India. Hinduism, Sikhism, and Islam. He was very much against the division of this country, the vivisection of this country. On 20th, Gandhi was attempted again. He said, as it was pointed out, if I am to die by the bullet of a madman, I must do smiling. There must be no anger within me. God must be in my heart and on my lips. And as it was pointed out, I would like to conclude by quoting what Gandhi said. If I were to die of disease or even a simple pimple, you must shout to the world from the housetops that I was a false Mahatma. Then my soul, wherever it might be, will rest in peace. People might well swear at you for my sake, yet if I died of illness, you should declare me a false or hypocritical Mahatma. And if an explosion took place, as it did last week, or somebody shot at me, and I received his bullet on my bare chest without a sigh and with the Ram's names on my lips, only then you should say that I was a true Mahatma. This will benefit the Indian people. This was Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi. He embraced death for the unity of this country, bringing the warring people together. With these words, I conclude and thank all the organizers for the kind opportunity. Thanks once again.
Thank you, Sibi. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Sibi K. Joseph. It was a spellbound lecture. Thank you. And since the time is up, we will straight go into the last phase of the webinar. And it is time for vote of thanks. Sir, William, sir, shall we allot some time for question answer, or we go for
I
vote
think
of
there's no
thanks?
need. I think no need.
No need, sir. Okay, sir. Dr.
It's only
Murali.
special address.
Yes, sir. And we request Dr. Mallamal, Professor, Department of Gandhian Thought and Peace Science, to deliver the vote of thanks.
Esteemed Vice Chancellor,
Dr. Mallamal, கொஞ்சம் camera adjust பண்ணிக்கங்க. Adjust the camera. கொஞ்சம் கீழே.
esteemed Vice Chancellor, the Gandhigram Rural Institute, deemed to be University Gandhigram, respected Chief Guest of the Day, respected Dean School of Social Sciences, respected Head Department of Gandhian Thought and Peace Science, Dr. Ravichandran, respected faculty members of other departments, guest teachers, and dear students. Good morning to all. It gives me an immense pleasure to deliver a hearty vote of thanks. First of all, I wholeheartedly thank our Vice Chancellor in charge, Professor T.T. Ranganathan, who presided over the webinar and delivered the presidential address. He remarked that the life and work of Gandhiji were powerful and influenced the people across the world. He recalled Gandhiji's many quotations, especially "My life is my message." I thank him adequately on behalf of our Department of Gandhian Thought and Peace Science and Shanti Sena, and on behalf of all who attended this webinar. I sincerely thank Dr. C.B. K. Joseph, Director, Sri Jamlalal Bajaj Memorial Library and Research Center, Sevagram Ashram Pradhishthan, for having accepted our invitation and delivered the special address of the day in an elaborative way. He highlighted that Gandhiji was guided by love and he was a spiritual personality. Gandhiji's final sacrifice was made for Hindu-Muslim unity. I thank him on behalf of our Gandhigram Rural Institute, Department of Gandhian Thought and Peace Science, and Shanti Sena. Thank you, sir. My sincere thanks goes to Dr. M. William Bhaskaran, Professor, Department of Gandhian Thought and Peace Science, and Dean School of Social Sciences. He said that Gandhiji had a tremendous faith in truth. We have to understand the importance of truth and non-violence practiced by Gandhiji. And remember his supreme sacrifice and non-violent martyrdom. He had a great love for humanity and served for the welfare of all. Thank you, sir. It is my duty to thank Dr. Mani, Professor and Head Department of Gandhian Thought and Peace Science, and Chief Organizer Shanti Sena, who organized this webinar within a short span of time and put up his efforts to make this program a reality. I must thank Dr. Ravichandran, Assistant Professor, Department of Gandhian Thought and Peace Science, and Director, Museum of Constructive Program of Mahatma Gandhi, who coordinated the program in a nice manner. I also thank all the faculty members and guest teachers who participated in the webinar. Finally, I thank all the students who attended this program and benefited by this one. Thank you, one and all. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Mallammal. Now, with regard to filling up the forms for participation certificates, I request Professor Mani, Head of the Department of Gandhian Thought and Chief Organizer Shanti Sena, will make the formal announcement. Sir, Dr. Mani, sir.
Yes, sir. The participants of this webinar, I request all the participants to register your feedback for getting the certificates. So thank you, one and all. I have to thank on behalf of Gandhigram Institute, especially from Gandhian Thought Department and Shanti Sena. Once again, I thank you all to participate in the great webinar on messages of Gandhiji's Martyrdom. Thank you, one and all. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, madam.
Thank you, sir.
Once again, I request all of you to register for your feedback feedback form. The feedback form is also there. It is appear in the Zoom link, and you registered. After registration, you will get the certificates. Thank you. Thank you, sir. Kannan, sir.
Sir, yes, sir.
சார் ரெஜிஸ்டர் பண்ணிட்டு இருந்தாங்கன்னா அவங்களுக்கு ரெஜிஸ்ட்ரேஷனோட அந்த ஃபீட்பேக் பண்ணிட்டு அப்படியே சர்டிபிகேட் கொடுத்துருங்க சார்.
எஸ் சார், அது முடிச்சதுக்கு அப்புறம் அவங்க அதுக்கப்புறம் நம்ம மெயில் அனுப்பிச்சிடலாம் சார், டவுன்லோட் பண்ணி அவங்களுக்கு டவுன்லோட் பண்றதுக்கு லிங்க் அனுப்பிச்சிடலாம் சார்.
தேங்க்யூ சார். தேங்க்யூ
சார். தேங்க்யூ ப்ரோ சார்.
ஃபார் யுவர் கைண்ட் ஹெல்ப்.
தேங்க்ஸ் சார். தேங்க்ஸ் லாட் சார்.
எத்தனை பேர் வந்திருக்காங்க சார்?
சார் 100 வந்தாங்க சார். அதுல ஒரு 40 மெம்பர்ஸ் வந்தாங்க சார். ஒரு 140 சார்.
சரி சார். தேங்க்யூ சார்.
எஸ் சார். தேங்க்யூ சார்.